I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, The Moats Theory of Life. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, I strongly encourage you to. This book not only is a fun read, but it's a guide to helping you become a person of impact and inspiration. If you are ready to take the next step to improving not only your life, but those around you as well, go get a copy of The Moats Theory of Life, and it's available at moatstheory.com. What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, bro?
But before we even go there, because you know we're going to go there, it's something very different about the set today. We're going to go there. But we're not there just yet because we got good news. We talked about last month, man. We had our first major sponsor in DRAFTKINGS Sportsbooking. Just an amazing app, right? In terms of what they've been able to do. The promo code using Moats for the first time users, you get the deposit bonus up to $1,000. They have a great situation going on right now, right? And we said it was for 1 month. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to ride with us for the rest of the season, all the way to the Super Bowl. So big time shout out to DraftKings Sportsbooking app, America's top rated sportsbooking app, man. Safe, secure, reliable. Major kudos to them for, hopping on with the journey. And more importantly, man, shout out to everybody that's been using the promo code. We have been getting those emails. It's been a good amount of y'all. So keep that going, man. We definitely appreciate you. But now back to you.
What's so funny?
Holy cow. All right. Okay. I respect it because... All right. We first talked about this beer, right? And we've seen the transformation, right? Just 2 days ago, whenever I saw you last, I think it was a couple days ago, you had the big burly beer. We were joking about you being homeless, watching the game. What'd you say? You watched the game outside of McFadden's or
Permanis.
You watched the game outside of Permanis. You know what I mean? You just post your little videos afterwards, but you had the big beard. You dressed kind of homely. Like it just looked like, like a guy that didn't have a place to live. Now I want to open my door. I almost closed it because I was nervous. I opened the door. I'm just like, who is this guy with this mustache? He looks really intelligent. I mean, you like some type of archaeologist. Anyone that's seen the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, give me the side profile. Just look that way real quick. He got the side profile Joaquin Phoenix, right? It's just crazy. You threw me off, man. I was nervous. I thought there was an intruder at my door or a salesman or somebody coming to talk to me about like my plumbing. But it worked out well. It's just you, Deke, and I appreciate you staying true to your word, man. Just talk about the process, man. Like, did it hurt? I mean, like, how long was it? Because the thing was boofy. I tell you, you had a chia pet on your face, man.
Well, it's weird because whenever I took the trimmer to shave it, it was actually pretty seamless. It came off really smooth because usually what I do once it gets a little bit longer, you take the trimmer first,
right,
cut it down, and then you get the razor for the clean shave. So it was no longer of a process than it normally would be. It was just way more hair.
And the thing that I'm very impressed with too, man, you got some really smooth skin, man. I see you up under there, man. People was doubting, the smoothness of it. It's a reason why Deke is a sex symbol. Not only does he give you educated archaeologist, historian, you look like a history teacher from the neck up, but then when you go neck to midsection, now you got taco meat, Deke. I see a couple of the whiskers showing out there, man. That's what people want. They gonna be over it. You thought they was going crazy before on big beard taco meat. Now they got booty chin, like just super clean with the baby chest hairs. Oh man, and you got the bro. I like this new look.
Oh wow, I appreciate it.
I like it.
Those are probably those are some compliments there. I don't know if everyone's gonna be thinking that way, but
no, man, big time compliments, man. I just hate the fact that it happened because of a loss. I would have loved it. This would have been we're celebrating a Super Bowl victory, and now we're cutting it.
Yeah.
And
this is like a good vibe going into the spring or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's all good. But dude, that is awesome.
Well, can I explain the stats?
Yes,
Instead
absolutely,
of the
man.
Complete clean shave. So with the loss, we are starting off fresh.
Yes,
so that's
correct.
Completely shaving the beard and everything.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we still have a little bit of a stain. We still have some dirt there.
Absolutely.
So to get the dirt off, we got to get the dub. That's all.
Facts.
Right now, we're going off a loss. That's our last game. We got to shave the dirt off.
That's it, man. And hopefully we'll be shaving that dirt off this weekend, man. We got a big time one coming up. I'm going to be super excited about it. But we'll get to that in another podcast, But I really like that a lot, though, man. I couldn't even get into the... I mean, you saw as soon as you opened the door, I broke down. I was like, yo, I can't do this right now. I can't. Wifey looking at me crazy, like, what's going on? She saw you, like, oh, yeah. Deke then changed it up.
Yeah, my mom was laughing at me. They were actually kind of excited, just to see their son with a clean-shaven face and everything.
You look good. You look so much younger, though. You looks like you done dropped 10, 15 pounds. Like, that beard thing is the truth. Remember, February, March time frame when he was at the West Virginia game with the beard, everybody, oh, man, he's looked so big. He looks so much heavier. You looked a lot heavier with the beard. Now you slimmed down.
Wasn't I telling you though? Then I'm like, listen, it's just the beard. I don't think he's that fat or anything. Because I've seen it with him before. I remember when Mac Miller, when he used to grow a beard.
Oh, see, I never
he used
saw
to
that.
look really fat. Everyone would be like, oh, Mac Miller's gained so much weight, but it was always the beard.
Just the beard. Okay.
So I was just trying to give you guys some insight with
I like that, man. It's clean though. It's a clean look.
I appreciate it, man.
And shout out to the glasses. You look so sophisticated, man. I'm over here with my casual on. I just went JMU purple.
Dude, are you trolling us here with this hoodie?
No, this is JMU. What are we talking about? Oh, all right.
You didn't even think of it.
I didn't even think of that. It's funny too.
You're always on point with like your little matchups with the outfits and things going on with sports.
I didn't even think about it, but I will say this: the reason why I put the hoodie on was because when I was thinking about JMU in general, I was like, dang, man, this is dope that we had Jimmy Moreland, who plays for Washington, who was number 20, to see him play yesterday.
He actually played good.
Yeah, and then next week we get Dean Marlowe, who was one of my younger guys. Like, so me and Jimmy, we didn't play together, but obviously me being back on campus a lot, like I was able to build a relationship with him. With Dean Marlowe, who's a safety, he's like their slot or dime linebacker, corner type guy for Buffalo. Actually, like, he was my young guy, like my freshman when I was a senior. So I was thinking about both of them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw the JMU on because my guys, it's back to back
weeks,
and I ain't even think like, oh, we did just take the L to my JMU. So no, I'm not sure. I got my JMU football shorts, so like,
I believe you.
Yeah, it wasn't even thinking like that, man. I don't do that now. I do some stuff, but I'm not gonna take the shots on a team that's coming off their first loss of the season. We're not gonna do that.
Because I could tell you were shook up whenever we were texting last night.
Yeah. Trust me, man. It was multiple things, man. I'll tell you a little bit more off air, but yeah, it was some very significant ramifications to that loss last night that affected me greatly, and I was not very happy with it.
Oh wow, I'm guessing some live betting or something.
No, actually, it dealt with a lot of money, but oddly enough, it was not dealing with betting.
Okay.
If only we would have been 12-0. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Like I said, I'll share more afterwards.
I'll be interested to hear this.
Yes, if we would have went 12-0, it would have been very, very, very nice. But it happens, man. Such is life. But before we get to the questions, actually, two things before we get to the questions, man. First off, we did a YouTube live last night, man. I did a little watch party. It was dope, man. It was a really good turnout. Shout out to everybody that participated in the live. It was weird because like you just see the different waves of people come on at different times, and I mean the numbers where it was averaging, it was really good, man. And I thought it was great feedback and conversation. We figured out the issue in terms of, since I'm the only one you could actually see me reacting, I had to wait like 20-30 seconds after every play.
20-30 seconds.
So literally what I would do after a play was made, I would wait till the replay to like give my expression. And it was hard because I mean you talking about touchdowns and I'm over here just like, yeah. Oh, there we go. And get hype. And then the other side was when the plays didn't go in our favor, and I got to sit here and poker face it like, yeah, guys, we're good. All right, y'all saw that touchdown. God dang, man, I can't believe this just happened.
Damn.
Yes,
was
bro.
it? Oh, could you have done something like a DVR where you maybe put it back 20 or 30 seconds?
I don't know. That's the only because like my broadcast,
it was
YouTube. Yeah, okay. YouTube broadcast. Like I was good on my end. I was ahead, but for everyone else in the comments, for some people, because remember the game was also regional. I thought it was going to be a national broadcast where everybody's watching it.
Are you serious?
Yes, it was a regional.
Wow.
So people had to stream it through like Reddit, or if you have obviously Sunday Ticket and things like that. But yeah, it was only regional, so that was different, man. They had obviously the Bills last night for the true Monday night game was the national game, so that was a little bit of a miscommunication right there, because we were under the understanding that it was another legit primetime nationally televised game.
That's what I would have thought.
And that wasn't the case. Yeah. So that was another reason why some of the other people were like a little bit delayed, because they're streaming it online or they're watching it, like I said, on Sunday Ticket and stuff like that.
Damn.
Yeah, it was different, man. But overall, man, it was a great time.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
And people were asking for you too, man. It was like, where's Deke at, man? Where's Deke? I was like, well, technically right now, Deke is at his house, I believe. And then somebody said you might be at Permanis watching the game outside. We got some of that in there. I was like, all right.
They tune in.
Yeah, they definitely tuning in. They were hip. And I'm trying to think, did I have anything else Oh, I did. So it's not a full. It wasn't a lot of people, but there was a small faction of people that said the reason we lost was because of the live video. Now, to me, I don't agree with that because I told you,
hey, we were up, right? It was the second half video.
But I'll say this though, right? I've done these lives multiple times with the Steelers. I've already told you that. So I know
you're right.
Yeah, so I was like, I've done these before. It wasn't on me. That's all I'm saying. So everybody that was a part of the live, now I did see somebody in the comments say they didn't have their hat on or something like that. I had mine. I was hot. I was sweating. Wifey had the fireplace on, so I'm dripping. But I had mine. I just want to let you know it wasn't me, Deke. All right. They said Deke gonna be mad because of the live and we lost. I said, nah. I'm gonna come talk to Deke ahead of time.
I understand the reasoning. I definitely understand the reasoning because I guess this is the first one on the Arthur Moats YouTube channel. But you've told me that you've done times now. The live watch parties a couple times throughout the season. Just
throwing it out there. So it wasn't on us, Deke. All right. It wasn't on us.
And you said that one guy wasn't wearing his hat.
Yes, he said that. Yeah, the dude was like, man, I take this. He said, I didn't think this was a big enough game, so I didn't put my hat on. I said, oh, you tripping. I said, why would you do such a thing? What were you thinking?
Damn, man.
Yeah, so it wasn't me. I'm just throwing it out there, and it wasn't everybody in the live. The people in the live, they were good.
Okay.
Except the person that didn't wear his hat. So I blame him. I don't remember his name, but I definitely remember him saying he didn't wear his hat. He didn't think it was a big enough game.
Hey, we all learn from our mistakes.
Yes, indeed. But with that being said, man, you ready to get into some of these questions, man?
Sure. I'm sure there's some good ones.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Some really, really good ones, man. So I'm definitely excited about it. Okay, so let's find out.
You going phone this time?
Yeah, I got a lot of these up here, man.
Okay.
Yeah, because I felt like with a game like yesterday, was a lot of people that had questions. And I feel like it's only right that we actually give them their questions, man, or at least respond to them. So this first one is from Keith Emmerich. He says, why isn't Jalen Samuels playing more over Snell and McFarland? Snell doesn't have the juice, and McFarland seems in over his head. Bring up Smallwood, can't get worse, right? I'll say this. I did think that Jalen, I don't think he played bad. I thought that he had I want to say it was a nice little screen or it was a draw run that he had. But in terms of the personnel from the running back standpoint, and we said this before, I don't think it's running back related. I feel like it's still offensive line. I know people are trying to go with the cop out of Randy Fichtner, and we'll get to that. But to me, the most alarming thing is the lack of push up front. Anytime it's a run play, you look at the line of scrimmage, we are not gaining any positive ground from that line of scrimmage standpoint. I think that's the first thing. And then secondly, with the running game, and we're not committed to it. We saw at one point, I think we threw the ball 13 times in a row before we had one run. That's not going to be a long-term recipe for success. We've talked about it numerous times up here. We also said that, hey, all right, we're done talking about running the game and being balanced. Let's put it all on Ben. And we talked about it as well with the margin of error. When you throw the ball that much and you're not at least trying to be committed to running the ball or at least running it effectively, you're going to have these type of issues. But I don't think it was necessarily a McFarland or Benny Snell thing or a Jalen Samuel thing. I just think that right now, man, the O-line has to get better because that's the biggest part of why the running game isn't successful right now, from my opinion.
No, I agree with you because part of me thinking this morning was, okay, well, we get Connor back. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But at the same time, I'm like, man, this line isn't changing at all.
That's the problem.
We've seen the struggles throughout this whole season. I do think it will help a little bit if he's out there for 70 to 80% of the time, where maybe if Snell's out there, McFarland's out there, we're almost given a little bit of a sign what we're going to be doing. Where Connor, maybe we could disguise that a little bit. But I'm with you, dude. It's the line. I was thinking, though, there was a couple of times with McFarland, we ran it with him out the shotgun. We just didn't stick with him. It was 4 carries for 15 yards. So he didn't look that bad.
We didn't commit to it, man.
There was 2 times where it was the line again, where he couldn't do anything at all. And that just seems like what it's come to all these times we try to run it. And I remember when I said a couple weeks ago, I want to run the ball. I see the importance of it. I just don't want to be wasting plays.
But see, that's
the problem.
I think that's what. Remember, this is where we differed. You said, to me, I said I don't view a run that's 0 yards or maybe 1 yard as a negative play. I view that as keeping the defense honest. Whereas you had said that you would much rather just go with the shorter passing attack, right? The 2 to 3 yard pass and use that as a pseudo run. And my whole thing with that is, as long as you're catching the ball, it works. We saw yesterday they had 7 drops. The game before that, they had 5 drops. That's a ton of drops in 2 games. I think they said the 7 drops yesterday was the most that they've had in a game this year. I mean, in terms of the whole NFL, that's a ton of drop passes. But the problem is when you're dropping that many passes and ultimately you're not staying on schedule, whether it's a drop or incompletion, you're not on schedule. You're not moving the ball. And ultimately, man, that adds up and it makes your offense stagnant. And we've talked about how our offense has been very reliant upon either a deep pass completion or a deep or pass interference. And we didn't get either one of those. Now, James Washington, he made a guy miss on a short completion and then turned it to I think it was a 40-yard touchdown or whatever. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, and
we did get one with Claypool. It was only like 15 yards.
But that's what I'm saying. We didn't have like how we've been seeing in our games that we've been successful in. We've been seeing 40, 50-yard penalty type situations with those with the pass interference. Like usually it's field flipping, whereas we never got that yesterday. And we saw how the offense really looked like just stale at times.
Are there any questions on Claypool?
I gotta check. I think so. Well, actually, no, not him specifically. Just
okay.
Go ahead.
Because I was gonna say he only played like 40% of the snaps. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that I'm wondering too. In yesterday's setting, it felt like with our short passes, they knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. And either the way to do that or the way to combat that is to run the ball, right? Mm-hmm. Or have a deep threat. And we didn't have Claypool out there for as much as I thought we were. So that I didn't really understand what we were doing there.
Yeah. In terms of why Claypool didn't play as much, I'm not sure right now. We'll hear more from that, obviously, when Coach Tomlin and those guys talk on it. But to me, right now, I just thought that when they committed to taking that short to intermediate passing attack, we know that favors who? Deontay, favors Juju, favors your backs and your tight ends. Claypool hasn't really shown him being the underneath guy. He's more of your deep threat guy, right? So to me, I thought that was a little bit of that reason. And then also, I was a little bit surprised too with the amount that they were using Ray McDonald. I mean, just in terms of like how much they were using him on offense, especially early on in the game also. So I think it was a mix of all those things, but it is going to be interesting to see why Claypool wasn't out there as much.
I didn't get that at all.
Because, he's a very productive player. We definitely know that.
I know they played Washington a little bit more, but man, to have Claypool out there, I really think that went hand in hand with them kind of predicting our short passing game and almost being on it, because you could tell, like even with some of the passes, like they were on it and then they were able to tackle really quick. Like it seemed like they played good defense on us.
Well, and we said going into the game that Washington are very fundamentally sound. We said they're not as talented as us from a top talent standpoint, but they play really good football. We said Ron Rivera is a really good coach. We obviously knew Jack Del Rio, their defensive coordinator, has been successful in this league as a head coach and as a DC. So we knew we had to execute. And we saw that was, to me, the biggest difference. In the red zone, they executed. They were able to get some, they were obviously able to score. They hit all their field goals. For us, we had we scored the one in the, we had one in the red zone, I want to say?
We had one. Did you see the stat too, actually? Mm-hmm. I know we've had the red zone problems recently, but we were top 11. Mm-hmm. It was like 65% or something like that.
And we'll get to some more of the stat stuff too, but to me, us getting stopped on 4th and 1 at the goal line, then obviously the 4th and 1 at the end of the game, or with 4 minutes left in the game, those are two essentially red zone. Well, one was a red zone, one was a high red zone area where you walk away with 0 points in both times, whereas Washington, they scored. They got points where there was a touchdown or field goals in those situations. And then also I look at Washington and I say they essentially had 3 turnovers. They had the interception at the end by Bostic, and then they had the 2 4th down turnover on downs. Mm-hmm. That's essentially 3 turnovers, and we had one? No, we forced the phone. We didn't recover it. So we never really had any turnover.
Was it Hilton? It was Hilton in the middle of the field almost had one.
Yeah. And so he almost had one. Then TJ had the strip, but didn't recover it. So to me, that was another big issue in this game. When you talk about a team that's going to play well, not going to give up big plays, not going to allow themselves to be beaten, they're going to make you have to execute. You can't be -3 in the turnover differential. And to me, that was another big part of the reason why the game turned out how it did.
Yeah.
All right, let's go check out another one. All right. We got this one from Drew Steinhardt. It says, still too many drops. Do you see any way that it will turn around?
I don't know, man. I think it's been pretty consistent throughout the year. It's just they haven't been costing us games like this now.
And that's the difference. When it doesn't cost you games, it feels a lot better. right now because it's been 2 back-to-back performances. One we barely squeak out against underman Baltimore team, and then
it's
this
been a
one,
little bit more.
absolutely,
like a couple more.
I mean, you're
like,
sitting at 5 and then 7, whereas before it was probably around 2 to 3. Yeah, and that's, like you said, a big difference. It's very much noticeable. I do think the drops will get better. Like I said, I felt like last week was more so related to the lack of practice time. I thought this week was still more so related to just the lack of fundamentals. When you see, I mean, it's not as if Deontay can't catch. We've seen Deontay even yesterday make great catches with his hands. His problem is he's playing too fast in terms of once he comes out of his break and he knows the ball is thrown to him, he's already in his mind saying, I got this catch. Who's the guy I'm going to make miss? We look at a lot of his drops there. His hands are there, but his head or his eyes are not looking at that ball and seeing it in. As routine, as mundane, as fundamental as it is, you cannot become tired with the fundamental. You have to continue to take every catch as if it was your first time catching the ball. Look at the ball, see it into your hands, have your hands right. Are you trying to catch it with your hands? Are you catching with your body? Are you over the shoulder? Because all of those things factor in. And when you're out there in a game and it's happening so fast, you have to do those routine things correct. When we talk about the great receivers, they're great obviously because they have God-given ability, but all of those guys are so fundamental. We talked about AB and we talked about him ad nauseum because, I mean, for our generation, he was the best. And
we saw him on our team every day
in practice for 4 years. You talk about a fundamentalist. He's going to run his routes exact. He's going to do the same exact motion when he's catching the ball with his hands. Every catch you see, every time you throw a ball to him in practice, he never puts it on the ground. He's staying out the practice catching a couple hundred on the jugs. Like, you see him obsess over it, but that's why you see him fundamentally every time he catches the ball. You freeze frame a picture, and it's literally hands, ball, eyes, both eyes on the ball, not hands on the ball, and he's looking upfield. No, because that's not fundamentally sound. And to me, I see that so much with Deontay and Ebron right now. They are just having laps in their fundamentals, and it's showing up a little bit more now. Obviously, when you're highly targeted like Deontay is a 10-target guy last night. When you're targeted that much, it's going to show up. If your fundamentals aren't as crisp, and we talked about this even with him in the return game, right? In terms of just the lack of fundamentals, we're seeing that has been a little nasty part of his game that he's going to have to get addressed if he wants to be as successful as he can be in his career.
I saw some comments. They said, no practice for the receivers this week. Jugs machines all day, 24/7.
Serious, man. It is crazy, man. It is a crazy scenario, but I do think as a whole, though, they will improve in that standpoint, man. They're too talented,
I'm
man.
hoping so, yeah.
Like the one catch where Deontay's coming out the break and he snaps the ball out the air with his hands and then makes the guy miss, like, that lets you know they can catch. It's not a situation where you're talking about guys who just can't catch. We've seen those scenarios.
We've seen awesome plays by all of our receivers,
right?
Yeah.
That's definitely not the case. I just feel like they got to be a little bit more fundamentally sound and not be lazy with the technique. All right, so this one is from Bosch Bebo. Shout out to Bosch Bebo. Is it time to change the play caller? I know we can't fire Randy Fichtner now, but is it time to let someone else on that staff call the plays? I like that, Bosch. That's a good little question right there. You want to go first or you want me to go?
I'm good. You can go.
Said I'm good.
You can go.
Honestly, to me, I don't think that changing the play caller right now is going to help. When you get to this point of the season, you pretty much are who you are, right? We've talked about this team. We said they're pass first. They have the personnel to run the ball, but they're not committed to running the ball. And in terms of the play calling, let's be real about this. Don't act as if now all of a sudden today, because been through the ball 50 times and we weren't successful, that's on the play calling. We talked about the past couple weeks when we were so pass heavy.
We've been doing this probably since the Ravens
Seriously,
game.
Yeah. And we've said this. We've brought it up
It's been working,
times,
though.
but it's been working.
Yeah, second half and everything.
We've been able to get out of stadiums, and people have been like, well, hey, let Ben call it. Let Ben keep throwing it. Go pass heavy. We don't need to run the ball. Now, when we kept talking about it as well, though, and saying that, hey, man, if you keep playing one-dimensional, it's going to come back and bite you. It's going to catch you. Now that we finally have experienced this, don't put it on the coordinator. Don't all of a sudden now it's coordinator, when these past couple of weeks, that wasn't the case. So to me, I don't view yesterday's performance as a coordinator issue. In fact, when I watched the tape, I thought that he had some good schemes from a passing standpoint. I thought the run game, they could do a little bit better there. But ultimately, I still felt like from the running standpoint, it was more personnel related. I just still feel like the way this team operates, and this is personnel we're talking about, when it's pass plays, their intensity level is up. They execute more. They have a lot more detail. When it's a running play, you just watch all 11 guys on running plays and you be the judge. That's all I'm going to say. Because, we're not going to do the thing where I'm, point to this guy, point to that guy. But just watch the tape on pass plays. Watch the effort. Across the board. I'm talking receivers. I'm talking O-line.
Everyone on Twitter was obviously talking about the Chase Young Ebron one at the goal line.
But then you go and watch a run play and it shows. And this the thing though. This isn't the first game it's been like that. We've talked about this a couple of games. We said Baltimore. We said Jacksonville. We talked about Dallas. I mean, we can go down the list. This has been showing up. But we said when you win, a lot of times that helps you cover up some stuff, right? We had the conversation, me and you, about, all right, are we going to, critique them and make sure that we're a little bit harder on them so they can improve? Or are we taking the codding approach, right? Where everything is, well, it could have been better. Well, it wasn't that bad. We're always looking for the silver lining. Or we say it can go both ways. This is the scenario right here where now where it's come back to bite us. Now people want to act as if we didn't have this already. It's like, no, man, this is a problem. But like I said, it's not coordinator related. I do not feel it's coordinator related. I still feel like that's the guys that are on the field right now, man. Schematically,
I was gonna say, I think personnel a little bit with the line, what we've talked about, and then the drops add up too. Yes, and then we had some of the fluky batted balls at the line.
Yeah, absolutely,
like 2 or 3 of those. So you take all that away, it might be a little bit of a different story, but that's kind of where we're at.
And I felt another difference too in terms of why our offense struggled, even though they didn't register a sack. They were constantly around Ben. They were constantly, and you saw that. And we talked about their D-line. We talked about their D-line going back to week 1. That's a good front, man. They're an attacking front. You saw how good they were in the run game. Just think about some of the short yardage plays we saw from them in the run. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and I think that was another reason why they kind of was like, from the Steelers standpoint, just abandon the run altogether because they were not able to get any type of movement.
And that's what the announcers kept saying too. They were like, they're only rushing 4 most of the time.
That's it. Yeah.
So if they're doing that, we should be able to run the ball on that, but we still couldn't.
Absolutely.
And then it leaves you to, all right, now we got to pass, but then we don't have Claypool out there. So where's our deep threat? Right. So that's why I felt we just were kind of predictable with these short passes, but it was it was working until it didn't work.
Right. And the thing was this, let's not act as if we wouldn't have been up even more if it wasn't for some of these drops. I mean, let's be real about it. We talked about the 4th and 1 stop at the goal line. Those are points that were available. We talked about some of the different drops that we saw from different players at various times.
Off schedule and first downs.
Right.
Yeah.
It was so many. Like, that's to me why I don't put it on coordinator, because I'm like, if we weren't having scenarios where we had opportunities, or if the offense just didn't look like it had any life, that's coordinator. That wasn't the case yesterday. We could move the ball when we executed it. We couldn't run the ball, but the passing concepts were there. We were getting guys open. We were having beautiful passes. I mean, even in contested areas, the ball was still where it needed to be. That's not coordinator. That's when we talking about the guys on the field executing. And that's the thing too, man. When you lose a game like this, everything becomes so heightened, right? Everybody wants to spotlight certain things, and then from there, it's like, all right, well, that's a scapegoat. We're putting it on him anyways. That's not the case. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That's a pretty good explanation. And there's another thing too. It was I think we had a nice. I can't remember what play it was or whatever. I thought we had a nice gain. Then we had a holding. It took us back to the first and 20 or something like that. I can't remember if we kept going on that drive or not. But that was just another thing. Like all that type of stuff added up in yesterday's game, because I never felt like they outplayed us at all. I think they played us better in the second half for sure. But man, I mean, it's a game we should have won. But regular season, whatever.
See, for me, I thought
it's frustrating for sure, but man, we're 11-1 still, 1 seed, whatever.
Yeah, we're still good. To me, I just looked at it as in the first half, we capitalized on their slow start, right? Because remember, their offense, they couldn't move the ball at all. Then when Antonio Gibson went out, which he went out early in the game, they were a little one-dimensional for a while. They didn't start trying to get a real formidable running game, but what they were able to do was obviously highlight J.D. McKissick out the backfield. He took over Gibson. What J.D. was yesterday was what Gibson would have been in terms of the 5 rushes, the 10 catches. That's who Gibson is, but Gibson does it at a higher level. So all they did was just substitute those 2 guys and just use Barber for running plays. Whereas with Gibson, when he's healthy, they use him out there the whole time. So they still stayed very true to what they like to do. Run the ball just to keep you a little bit honest. They're not going to blow you off the ball, but just keep you honest. And then from there, we're working these backs and capitalizing on mistakes. You think about the play before halftime, they got them in field goal range. That was off of a missed tackle. Remember that
am I thinking? Is that the third down? Was it third down?
it was either second or third down.
Well, it was Sims, dude.
Yeah.
He became Jerry Rice yesterday.
Yeah, but we had a missed tackle that ultimately got them in field goal range. Then we also saw, a couple of just spectacular catches by them. It just so happened that our dog Cam Sutton was in the vicinity of it, but that was still so. I thought that was more so good throw and catch on their side, good execution. But we still saw some issues pop up. We had a blown coverage. We talked about that, right? And that was more so. I guess we're getting that right now too, but that was more so
the Logan Thomas touchdown.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. So we talked about how in the past, right? We said the Steelers love to play man to man, right? And versus man to man, the way you attack it is you can go bunch sets, right? Because it's going to make guys have to communicate, and you can play it in and out. You can play where everybody locks everyone. You could play it where you got the first outside, I got the first inside type situation, right? Or some type of combination. On that play, they were confused. You see Avery Williamson play it one way. You see Vince Williams play it another way. And the result was a guy running wide open. That's the stuff that you talk about right there, man, in terms of how you can get beat, how a Washington football team can beat you. When you have a blown coverage in the red zone that equals a touchdown like that on an assignment, that both of those guys, if they're on the same page, regardless of how you want to play it. And the reason I say it like that, because I don't want people to make the narrative of, oh, well, that guy had to be wrong, because we weren't in the huddle. And from being in that defense, you can call it either way. It's more so a feel thing, right? So to me, I just look at that and I'm frustrated because I'm like, could Avery cover Logan Thomas? Yes. Could Vince on that particular route cover Logan Thomas? Yes. Even with, I think it was Cam Sutton, he might have been the outside corner on that. But the combination of those three, however you wanted to play it, if y'all three are on the same page, that does not happen. And if you're talking about them kicking a field goal potentially versus a touchdown, now we're looking at a different outcome. So to me, it was things like that.
We had the
really
pressure on Smith on that play too.
Absolutely.
I think he just got it off right as we were about to hit him.
That's the frustrating part, because you can see even in a quote unquote bad game or a loss, how we are still so talented and it's still self-inflicted.
Yeah, it was just us. Really, it was just us.
Absolutely, man. But that was a good question, though. That's a good little vibe. All right, now this one is from let's see, Cameron Jones. Shout out to Cameron. Is this because of the weird weeks we had with no practice and no bye weeks, etc., because of COVID?
I don't know. I don't really want to use that as an excuse at all.
I put it like this. I don't want to use it as an excuse either.
It might have played a role, but
just from your personal perspective, right? Did the guys appear to be tired to you or banged up? To me, I thought later on in the second half, they looked like they were getting a little bit banged up.
Well, that goes to another question, and I don't know if it's in here.
About the injuries?
Well, yeah, injuries.
Yeah, we got that up here.
Okay,
well, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking more or less was the problem. If you wanted to chalk it up, or if you saw more tiredness and you want to chalk it up to that, I think it could have played a role. I mean, 3 games in 12 days or whatever it is, and I don't know. I don't think it has to be. I don't know how I want to phrase this. Like such a big excuse or anything. It could just be like, that might have played a role. Let's just move on.
Like, was it a factor? Sure, but I don't think it was a major factor. Like, I wouldn't use that as the reason why.
No, because we just talked about everything before that.
We're talking about, did it play a percentage in that? Sure, but if out of 100%, I wouldn't give it more than 20%. Honestly, just from personal experience here. But did it play an effect? Sure, and obviously the injuries to me played more of an impact on that, and we'll definitely get into that. But without a doubt, man, when you talk about it, just in general at this stage in the of the season, and this could be something that is going on with Claypool. We talk about the rookie wall. This is a long time, right? For rookies, man, by the time you get to week 10 or 11, your college season typically is done in 10 games, right? But for collegiate, for the rookies, you go from a full season, you have a bowl game. Now, this year, they didn't have to do the All-Star games and the combine process, obviously, because of COVID and stuff. Well, no, they got the combine and they didn't do the rest of the stuff because of like the pro days and stuff because of COVID. But you never really have a break. So when you think of Claypool and how he might be slowing down a little bit, that could be another part of it in terms of, is he hitting that rookie wall? Because it is real. I mean, you feel it. You'll be sitting here and you're like, bro, I feel like I've been playing football for 365 days. Physically and mentally, I'm a little fried. Like, you go through that, and it's normal. Everyone deals with it, man. And it happens at different stages for everyone. So that could be something else that's going on with him as well, man.
You add that to the amount of time we played over the past however many days.
Absolutely, man.
Maybe things could snowball a little bit. And I think our explanation is pretty good. It's like you want to chalk it up to 5, 10, 20%. Sure.
We're not using that as an excuse, though, man.
No, I don't think it's like a big deal in terms of how we look going forward through the rest of the season or anything.
Absolutely, man. But shout out. That was a good question, Cameron. All right, so this one is, boy, I did not see this name. Billiken Baller 3. All right, Billiken Baller 3. I like it. What are your thoughts on the terrible officiating leading up to the field goal before halftime?
Oh, man.
I've never seen that a day in my life, honestly. That was crazy.
Bro, like,
that was crazy.
I can't even explain it because I thought for a second, all right, Alex Smith, he's being like a savvy veteran doing this.
I thought the same.
But then at the same time, I'm like, wouldn't you just get the ball to the ref as soon as possible and get off the field? Because you had that, like, it was like in the teens amount of seconds.
This was the thing. So, and I mean, this is not new. I mean, you have balls that you kick with. They have a little K on them. They're labeled. They are already approved before the game. They are in a separate bag, and you use those for all kicking plays, punts, kickoffs, field goals, right? So typically, every time when you're in those type of scenarios, typically you got the ball switching in and out with no issue, right? And sometimes for your field goal team, right? If you're coming on in a last second scenario, if you got the time, you switch the ball out. But if not, you just roll with the ball.
Either way, that's on the team.
Right.
Damn.
But I've never seen that scenario where the quarterback actually because usually you will tell the referee like, yeah, they already know they're switching balls. So literally referee, like the guy, you saw the slow frame where the guy's like standing to reach for the ball. Usually the quarterback or whoever has the ball, he'll leave it on the ground. From there, referee picks it up, looks to the side, throws it over there. They'll have another ball that gets thrown in. They set it up, blow it in play. But because the referee never saw Alex get up and run off with the ball, he looks like he lost it. Whereas because, I mean, obviously the way Alex's body was positioned, he couldn't see Alex having the ball in his hand. He was just waiting on it. So Alex doesn't see him. He runs to the sideline. I don't think he did it maliciously. No. It wasn't like the Vince situation a week ago where you're like, bro, you tripping right now. It wasn't like that. He just ran off, just didn't see the ref, just know, I got to get this ball up because we got the kicking ball coming in. And the ref just looks like he missed Alex. When Alex got up, he just didn't see the ball, didn't think, all right, where is it at? You see him reaching around looking for the rock. And that was kind of that whole situation. But I don't think it was malicious on either party. And for the referees, honestly, I can't even put them at fault because I've never seen that happen. Throughout all my years of playing football, rec ball, high school, college, pros, I've never seen a scenario like that. But more so because I don't think we've ever seen the quarterback or the person in a 2-minute drill actually run with the ball off the field like that, you know?
So that should have been on Washington to toss a ball out to the ref, though, if Alex Smith was going to take it to the sideline like that.
So technically, yes. But also it's on the referees to know that, okay, he's taking the ball off the field, and the referees should be looking to Washington to get the ball back on the field.
Okay.
They looked
like
as if they looked as if they couldn't even find where the ball was. And that was the big hiccup. If you ran the ball out of bounds, it would be no different, right? Clock will be stopped or whatever, or however many long, if it was going backwards, clock wouldn't be stopped. But even then, you're bringing that ball back on the field. We've talked about veteran savvy guys, right? We've seen Larry Fitzgerald. We've seen Juju where they make a catch and they sprint to bring the ball back to the middle of the field. That's all in those type of situations. I've never seen that scenario though, where guy gets stopped in the middle of the play, couple seconds on the clock, and he actually runs with the ball off. I just never seen that before. I've seen them kick with that ball before without even using the kicker ball, but I've never seen that scenario where you actually take the ball and run off. So that's why for me, I can't put that on the refs because I've never seen that scenario before. That's like a once in a blue moon type thing, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. I like that explanation because it did feel kind of like bullshit, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really know what the hell's going on here.
And then for me, you already know, I never complain about referees because as much as we want to complain about that play,
I try to get you to complain a little bit.
This, right? As much as we want to complain about that play, let's not act like they didn't blow it on that challenge where Logan Thomas is stretching across. That was a clear first down, and clearly the referees got that wrong. So for me, that's why I'm always like, I feel like it balances out, man. We talked about last week where we got away with one before halftime with Vince on the ground doing whatever he was doing to keep the clock rolling and stuff like that. It's just one of those things, man. But that's why if you always are looking for the refs to bail you out, it can backfire. If you're always looking for the refs to blame, it can backfire. Just execute and we're good. That's all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to this next one. These are some good questions today, though, too. Man, I like this.
For sure.
Shout out to Billiken Baller 3. That was a heck of a name. All right. This one's from Mr. Swag. Shout out to Mr. Swag. Can we rebound? I'm actually kind of scared due to the lack of balance on our offense. I'm also worried because we are losing men left and right, and the Browns are creeping up there in the division.
See, I'm not worried about the Browns at all.
Browns sitting at what, 9-3 right now?
Yeah, I'm still not worried about them, though.
All right.
I'd be more concerned about the Chiefs or Bills in terms of AFC teams.
I'm just simply saying they're a 9-win AFC team right now.
I get it, but we smacked them, dude.
I'm feeling you. I feel you. I'm just simply saying they are a 9-win team. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. I'm not worried about the Browns in the division or anything like that. But all right,
Would you be
the question
worried if
rebound?
it came down to, all right, we're both sitting here, we haven't lost since, neither party, and we got to win this to win the division? Would you feel nervous then?
The last game of the year?
Yeah. Or if it equaled out to where that last game of the year that was for the division, would you be a little nervous then?
If we're healthy, we're fine.
Okay.
No, I don't feel that way.
I like it.
Yeah, Connor being back, even Pouncey being back.
Yeah.
All of our starters on defense. Hopefully Spillane's back too. I'd feel fine.
Okay.
I would.
All right, just check.
I don't think they have the juice on offense like the Bills or the Chiefs do.
I do agree with. Well, even though you saw them versus Tennessee, they lit it up, right?
Yeah, but I think we know how to play that.
Okay.
Tennessee's they're kind of a shitty defense.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we know who Baker is. Top 20 quarterback, but he's definitely limited.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's why I'm not as concerned with the Browns. Like, our rushing defense really good. We stood them up the first time.
And I'm not gonna lie. Anytime Baker in Cleveland comes in, it reminds me of how the NFL viewed Brady with the Patriots, the boogeyman. You go up there to play them, it gets nervous. Oh man, something about it. It's always magical. Anytime
Baker
you play.
coming here.
No, I'm just saying in general. Baker versus us right now versus the Steelers. Like anytime Baker's playing us right now, right? It always looks like he struggles. It always looks kind of like I said, the boogeyman. Like when you play the Patriots with Brady, you always like, regardless of how the game starts, somehow, some way, it's going to work out in their favor at the end. I feel like right now with Cleveland, that's how they view us, because typically every time we've played them, I mean, the history speaks for itself.
Well, even the Thursday night game we played up there with Mason, like, he didn't play good.
Not at
we
all.
gave him that game.
Not at all. I mean, you have four turnovers that game. Think about that, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without a doubt, I just feel like we have his number right now, man.
So the ultimate question, though, about the rebounding.
I definitely feel like we'll rebound. I'm confident. Now it's going to be interesting, though. Like I said, this next game versus Buffalo, that you thought Washington was tough. This is going to be a really, really tough game. But I'm really excited, though, because I do feel like we play better in those type of games where it's good on good, where it's all the hype and all
coming off the loss,
right,
too.
You're extra motivated. Still a ton at stake, too. You talk about being 11-1 right now. We know Kansas City also is right in that vein. So we have to keep winning if we want to keep that 1 seed. But more importantly, we got to keep winning too, because if we drop the Buffalo and, now you start getting a little tighter because they're sitting at 3 losses right now. So they're going to be right in that conversation as well. You just don't want to play that type of game, especially as an AFC team too, at least with Washington. NFC, right? So it doesn't hurt as bad, right?
Yeah, as much as the loss was frustrating and all of that, I think the rest of our games are all AFC, right?
Yes,
that was the only NFC game. So that was, I guess, the one to lose if you were going to pick one.
Correct.
So, but yeah, we're still the 1 seed because of that. So, I agree with you. I think we'll rebound. We'll be fine. I just want these guys to be healthy again.
That's the big thing. Got to get back healthy, man. Have to. All right. And this one kind of is going to talk a little bit about the injuries. This is from Augustine Lieb. I think I said that last name right. Excuse me. Avery Williamson and Alex Highsmith seem to do a pretty good job. How did they look to you guys? Do you expect either of them to surprise us with superior play? Well, with Avery, first off, I was impressed with him. He was playing a lot early on too. I know people tried to make it as if he played because of Spillane getting injured and that was his stats. But no, you watch him in the first half, he was playing a ton already, man. His role is definitely expanding, and that was prior to Spillane's injury. But I thought Avery did well. Thought he was competitive in coverage. I like that. He tackled really well, which was really impressive, because that's always the question and concern, right? When you haven't practiced, when you haven't played in a game in a couple of weeks, what's your tackling going to be like? Because typically on defense, that's the first thing to go is your tackling. So the fact that he was tackling good, didn't see any missed tackles, I like that. We talked about the little bit of a coverage miscommunication with him and Vince. I want them to get that on the same page, but that's kind of what happens when you have a newer guy getting thrown into some of these situations, playing a larger role as well. But overall, I thought he did fine. Alex Highsmith, I thought he did fine. Also, he just looked as if that was his first expanded action, though. And what I mean is this. So typically when he comes in, we talked about this, right? If you come in as a situational player, it's always passing situations when you come out there. You don't have to think about, right? You just go out there and you're just rushing. So you see him play a lot faster. Or if he had to go into coverage. All right, I know the assignment. I'm dropping into coverage. Not worried about it. I'm only out there for 2 to 3 plays. Great effort. I can execute. It looked like yesterday, though, at times it was more so like he was just thinking of executing his assignment, but not thinking of being a playmaker. And the difference is this. If I tell you, Deke, hey, I want you got a contain rush right here, right? Contain rush by rule is make sure that nobody gets outside of me on my rush. Make sure that I keep the quarterback on my inside shoulder and don't do an inside move. So typically you just run up the field, right? 4 yards, stop, sit it down, counter back, you good, right? But that's not necessarily making a play. Now, if I say, all right, man, you got the contain rush, but go out there and make a play, and now you over here like, okay, but I'm finna hit him with a speed rush, man. I might fake the inside. I'm outside hand swipe, get him on the outside. Like, that's the difference. And with Alex, at times, it looked like he wasn't looking to make plays. He was more so just executing an assignment. And that is very common when you talk about younger players or that being their first time in an expanded role where you have to worry about down and distance. You have to worry about situational football. You have to worry about, all right, am I in base now? Am I 6 technique, 7 technique? Are we in sub package? Am I going 9 technique? Am I ghost 5? Am I hammering? Am I spilling? All right, am I dropping into coverage? Who am I working with?
You're confusing me right now.
Like that's the difference though between being a situational player versus being an every down guy. And that's why with Bud, we talked about like, can Alex Highsmith grow into Bud? Sure, he can be that type of guy. Now, I don't think he has the same first step. And that was something also that showed up differently. When you watch Bud first step, I mean, his burst is crazy off the line. Highsmith isn't there just yet. But to me, that was the biggest difference. When Bud is out there, man, Bud is playing to make plays. He's not worried about messing up. He's not thinking about an assignment. He's making a play. TJ, they play to make plays. Highsmith just looked like he was just trying not to be the reason why we mess up. Let me make sure I'm doing my job right. Let me make sure I'm lined up right. I love this effort. I mean, we saw the one where he chased down Terry McLaurin on the screen. I love that effort. Yeah. But as a whole, I just didn't think he looked as comfortable just yet. But I anticipate that getting better as time elapses for him, though.
Well, I was thinking that as the game was going on because you're watching him. He's getting around the edge. He's getting close to the quarterback. He's pressuring, and it doesn't seem like he's doing anything wrong. It seems like, all right, if you're out there, this is what you should be doing. But the thing I was thinking is, are we missing those 2 or 3 plays that Bud makes where he gets the guy behind the line of scrimmage? Absolutely. When they're running the ball, those type of things where you can have a player that's doing all the right things, but I think that's what we're going to be missing with Bud is just those 2, 3, 4, 5 plays that you get a game where you're just like, wow, that's an awesone play by Bud.
That's the difference between when we talk about just a good or an average player versus your elite
And
players.
It's crazy. It's only 4 or 5 plays, though, because on any given play, the ball might not be coming to your side at all. You have no impact.
I mean, think about with TJ, right? Out of all the snaps TJ played, it's typically 4 or 5 per game where he has that splash impact. That's the difference, though. That's what we're trying to find. Those, when we talk about, you always hear, oh, it's a game of inches. There's always a handful of plays that really impact the game. That's what we're referring to right there. And like I said, Highsmith, I feel like he will grow into that, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. But it's not easy. I do feel like because of Robert Spillane's ability when he came in, the plays that he made early on, it kind of gave people a fake narrative of, oh, this is what you're supposed to do when you come in. That's rare. That's an outlier. That does not happen a lot, man.
He's kept it up, man.
He has, man.
He's been playing good.
I'm just hoping his injury isn't serious, man.
I know, dude. I was concerned.
It sucked to see him go down, bro. Like, he was grabbing the knee. I'm like, God, I saw Bud do that a week ago. Like, what was going on here? Excuse me. So I definitely hope that
he had the big hit on Alex Smith for the sack, dude.
like he was playing well, bro. He's been making big plays, bro.
I know.
Taking full advantage of the opportunity. Like I said, I hope it's not serious. I hope he's able to come back sooner rather than later, man. I don't want it to be a thing where it kind of lingers on and we're talking 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Now we're trying to get him healthy for play. Like, I don't want it to be one of those scenarios, you know?
Hopefully he's good for like the last 2 games, kind of get him up to speed and then ready for the playoffs. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll see how that whole thing plays out though, man. All right. Now this one is from Avery465. Do you think the injuries, talking about to Steven Nelson, Joe Hayden, Robert Spillane, Bud Dupree, obviously Pouncey dealing with COVID, says, etc. Do you think the injuries are starting to take a toll on the team? Are starting to take a toll on the team, on the game, or were there bigger issues that led to the loss? I mean, I think we already kind of addressed some of the other issues, but without a doubt, I personally felt the injuries overwhelmed them defensively and more so in the secondary. Them not used. Obviously, Steven Nelson didn't play. Justin Lane, I thought, did a really good job. He stood up.
You didn't hear his name. That's why he did good.
I was really impressed though, watching him. Like he was really good in coverage. I like his length. That's the thing. That's why I feel like he's really good to be an outside corner. Whereas with Sutton, he's a little bit smaller, and we saw him struggle just a little bit. He was in the right place, but you could see the lack of length that cost him on the throw to Logan
Almost
Thomas.
A touchdown, yeah.
That he could have picked, and then you saw the one hand catch by Cam Sims. in the other part.
Dude, where did he come from?
Dude, but it's a game of matchups, right? And we saw that they liked that matchup, so wherever they were at, they highlighted it, man.
The two guys we were talking about, McLaurin and Gibson. Gibson gets hurt. It was all McKissick, Sims.
They shut down McLaurin. McLaurin, I think, like 1 catch for 12 yards, 2 catch for 12 yards. Logan Thomas, though, he was the one. He broke her back. And J.D. McKissick.
Yeah. And Sims, crazy, it was those three out of the two we talked about, they were barely used.
Absolutely, man. But I will say this, and that's another reason why I'm not as hard on the defense today, because if you're going to get beat by a team, they better have somebody else step up. You cannot get beat by the guys that you know on tape we're game planning for. If we would have been talking about this game and said Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin ran wild on us, I'll be up here losing my mind. I'm like, no, you cannot have those two guys beat you. That would be like when you play us and you knew, okay, AB was right here, elbow was right here. You better do whatever you can to take those guys out and make Juju, make
Marcus Wheaton have the 200-yard game.
Make somebody else have to do that. So they did that yesterday. Logan Thomas, cool. You had a great game. I could tip my hat to that. I still feel like we talked about already. Some of that stuff was more on us. But if he was the reason and J.D. McKissick were the reason and Cam Sims were the reason, I can live with that. That to me is different, you know? And it's no different if we were talking about offense. The reason why we're a little bit more critical on offense is because it was self-inflicted stuff, the drops, right? If we went out there and we executed offensively and it just happened where we didn't get the ball at the end or we got the interception off of a tip, we're not tripping on that. But when you talk about the drops, when you talk about the lack of run game, constantly holding them back, that's self-inflicted. That's the frustrating part. That's stuff that we knew going in. We have to fix this, you know? Or looking at Chase Young. If Chase Young would have been out here from start to finish 3-4 sacks, it's like, no. You know that guy. That guy, I don't care what Montez Sweat does. Montez Sweat. Now, we know he was going to be good, but we said, Chase Young, you better make sure he's not having these type of impacts. So it's certain things that they did do well. But you could just see, though, man, at this level, you have to operate every single time.
Yeah, I agree. When you're missing your two starters at cornerback, I actually thought Spillane, now you could tell me if I'm wrong or not, you know, he goes down, all of a sudden McKissick gets all these yards and these catches and stuff, and Thomas too. So I don't know how much that has to do with Spillane being out, because it didn't seem like that was a problem in the first half when he was in there.
It was a mix. It wasn't just that. I think it was also, from my perspective, and I'll see it a lot clearer once the All-22 comes out, but rewatching it, it just looked to me that once Joe started, like I said, Joe was down. Once Cam, I think it was the second one, the second big catch, the one that should have been an interception or whatever, it looked like from then on, they didn't look as comfortable playing some of the man-to-man stuff. I don't know if they didn't like the matchups across the board, but they were obviously thinner, especially when Joe went out, because now you're down, you're starting two corners. So now that's a lot different. Now you're going to have guys playing in different spots. I do think that played into it as well. Obviously, like I said, once we get the All-22 and we're able to see the full picture, we'll be able to know a lot more. But to me, that was one of the things that I just initially had like a feeling when I'm watching. I'm just like, they don't look like they want to challenge these guys in man-to-man like we're accustomed to seeing. But when you lose that many guys, I mean, that's the difference. We go from having that top-tier talent that we talked about to now it's a little more balanced out when you're talking about the corners that we had minus Joe and Steven versus those wide receivers. It's not that landslide. It's not that clear-cut advantage anymore. And I think that played a role in that, honestly, man.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I'd be interested in that just because we know we talk about Spillane. He's really decisive. He's quick to his spots and stuff. I just thought maybe that could have played a role in Thomas and McKissick going off like that, because usually the linebacker role is, you know, the tight ends and the running backs and stuff.
Absolutely, man.
I'll be interested to hear what you got to say whenever you look at the tape, though.
Absolutely, man. Trust me, I cannot wait. Anytime, and it's weird. It's like, you love to watch the tape anyways, but when you win, it's always like, it's a different vibe. When you lose, it's like, all right, I need to know why. How can we fix it? Yeah. Right? How do we fix it? So that's what I'm excited to figure out, man. Gotta get in the lab.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. We got our last one here. I like this one. This will end with. All right, so this is from 91 Woo. Shout out to 91 Woo. Do you think James Washington should start getting more reps over
who?
Deontay Johnson?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, dude.
It's very tough.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think it seemed like he was getting more of the reps because I looked at the snap counts. He was like at 50. Claypool was at 40. It looked like he was taking Claypool's.
But this the thing. When you look at target wise, though, Washington and Claypool both only had they both had 4 targets, 2 receptions. But you look at Deontay, You look at Ebron and Juju. Deontay, 12 targets. Ebron, 11 targets. Juju, 10 targets. So in terms of James getting more opportunities, we've talked about this before. It's just more so who are you pulling targets from? I don't feel like you go away from Deontay. I just feel like you have to get on him even more so. And I think this is going to be an issue where Seven has to get on him a lot more. That's one of the things they've talked about with Seven this year in terms of him being a lot more understanding. They said he's handled this group, this wide receiver group, is almost as if they were like his children, not in a negative way, but just more so like speaking from a loving standpoint. Whereas in the past, it was more direct. It was a little bit more critical. And I think this is a scenario where he might need to do that. He might need to be a little more critical because right now, coming from Randy Fichtner and Matt Canada is not going to be the same. Coming from your receiver coach, Ike Hilliard, is not going to be the same. But when it comes from Seven, in terms of him talking to his receivers and what he demands from them, that will hit home so much more. And that's why I think it's a scenario where he does need to potentially talk to them about that, man, and put more emphasis on it, especially in practice, because Deontay's too talented. That's not a guy that you say, hey, we don't want to throw him the ball. I mean, even with the 12 targets and the drops that he still had 8 catches for 71 yards. He had a touchdown. He still was electric with the ball. Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm like, that's not a, we go away from that guy. That's a, I need to challenge you and motivate you and figure out how do we get you back on pace. Because once we do that, you're special. That to me is what I'm seeing right now. And I don't think Ben has to be the bad guy to do it. I don't think Ben needs to do it publicly either, because we've seen that before where he says something publicly and then from there, media runs with it, and something that was maybe said out of love gets viewed negatively. I don't even think you need to go public about it. We don't even need to know this conversation happened. But I think that it has to come from him to those, especially those receivers, because they're young. Outside of Juju, the rest of those guys are young. They're young.
Juju young too.
I mean, Juju's 24. He's a baby. It's crazy. He's the vet in the group, but he's a baby. So to me, that's the biggest issue right now, man. Ben has to talk to those guys and get them receivers, especially young guys, understanding at this level there are no gimmies. We can enjoy, celebrating after a game. We can enjoy social media. We can enjoy all of that stuff. Yeah. But you also have to realize you have to take this stuff serious. This is the baby. This is what brings in the followers. This is what brings in the money. If it can't be the reverse element of it. And for as many times people want to criticize Juju for that, we've never had issues with Juju and drops. You could bring up the untimely fumbles, but even when you look at his career, it's a handful of those. So to me, even with Juju, you can see the difference of him being a professional first, social media or influencer second. Right now, we need to see that more so with Deontay as well and with Claypool as well. Focus, get in the lab. Not saying that you can't have that type of stuff, because trust me, I did it as well. You're supposed to. You're building your brand. You're just having fun. You're young. But you have to understand, especially the younger players, that you have to put the football stuff first. You have to put that extra time in on the jugs. You have to put that extra time in the film study, in the playbook, because that's going to help you operate, execute at a high level consistently. That's the difference between your good players and your great players. If you want to be a good player or an okay guy, then man, 12 targets, 8 catches, a couple drops, that'll get you there. You'll be an okay guy. They'll remember you and say, well, he was pretty good. Wasn't great, but he was good. But if you want to go down as one of the greats, one of the elites, and he has the talent for that, that's what you have to do. So to me, man, that's kind of my last little takeaway from it, man.
No, for sure. And I think we hit on this earlier too. Maybe the loss is the wake-up call in a way, because up to this point, even with the drops, it was less drops, but we were still winning and great plays were still being made. So you could kind of overlook it a little bit and you could just assume, all right, the drops are going away. But these last 2 games have been like a culmination of, it seems like these problems have been fixed. So yeah, maybe this is the wake-up call, because we're getting later in the season. We're 11-1. We're the 1 seed. We got our sights on the Super Bowl. So yeah, this stuff can't be happening, because we see what happens in this game. We outplayed them for the most part. I thought we should have won the game, but all these little details and things add up to where we don't win.
Without a doubt, man.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything else, dude. I think we covered everything.
I just feel like we got to take this one on the chin, and the words of Coach Tom, we're going to chew it. We're going to get in the lab, and we bouncing back next week, man. So, yeah, you ain't had no hot topics. I didn't. I'm good, man.
I was going to say Earl Thomas. Do we consider him? No.
I'm not gonna do it like that. We'll get to him though. We'll get to. I just don't feel like right
Another
now.
Podcast?
Yeah. I just don't feel like right now we need him right now.
Okay, because I was wondering, it's like, could he do a better job than potentially Marcus Allen? You know what I mean, or like Antoine Brooks or anything. So we might already have the guy on the roster.
Yeah, I don't see it right now. And like I said, I think once we know health wise going forward, and that's why I said I'd rather wait until later in the week to talk about it. because we still don't know the status of the rest of the guys right now. How long is Spillane out? All right, with Joe, I know they said concussion. Is this a 1 week, 2 week? When is Nelson coming back? When we know,
that was out of nowhere.
Right, when we get that info, then we can start potentially talking about Earl Thomas coming in. But right now, we don't have enough information for that. So that's my biggest thing with that, man.
Works with me. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
I like it, man. But that was fun, though, bro.
That was a blast.
That was fun. So we definitely going to cook up again, though, later this week, man. We preview that big-time showdown this weekend. But, like I said, humbling experience. We take it. We grow from it. We learn. Shout out to Deke's new look. Hopefully, we'll cut off the top part after this weekend, baby. All right?
That's right.
So, with that being said, man, we appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. And as always, until next time,
peace.